Hey, it's Kyle. When that cop comes to Chris and Kyle. Hey, turn to the board. What's your 9.9 comments to Chris and Kyle? I mean, come on.
Hi, welcome to 9.9 Comics with Chris and Kyle.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm Chris, and today we'll be talking about comics getting released June 13th, 2018. To start things off, probably one of the biggest titles coming out this week. And there's reasons why it's not the no-brainer, but we don't want to get into that too much. Venom number 2, Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman. If you haven't picked up and read Venom number 1,
Game changer.
you're a fool. You need to go do that. Like,
Game changer.
Drop what you're doing. I believe second print comes out the same time as this issue, so at least go get a second print. When a comic gets like some 26,000 comics printed and it sells out and goes in the second print, that's a huge deal. So definitely get on this while you still can. I know I have 2 Venom number 1s signed by Donny Cates, so
I feel like this actually surpassed the no-brainer.
It kind of did.
It's to the point where it's so obvious.
It is. It's one of those ones that we just it's beating you over the head with it type thing at that point. But definitely pick it up. I can't give this book enough praises. Moving on from there, we have Weekend Presents Starboy number 1 out of Marvel Comics. Based on the chart-topping song from the double platinum album Starboy by The Weeknd, the city... Okay, that makes sense now. The city of Alphatron is in the grip of a crime wave as the terrifying Jack, the Chef Smiley, has unified all criminal organizations with his ruthlessness and strategic genius. Not content with brutally murdering his victims, Smiley also feasts upon their flesh. The citizens live in fear and the police have been directly targeted. The city is in dire need of a hero. It will not get one, but it will get what it deserves. Starboy. Parental advisory. It sounds like it. Cannibalism is not generally something you let your kids enjoy.
No.
I mean, read. Okay, another huge deal.
Yes.
Also got pushed out of the no-brainer spot. Thor number 1.
Thor.
So this is Thor returning to being Thor, even though he was always Thor. He was just in the Unworthy Thor versus the Mighty Thor.
Thor,
and it's just
number 1. Thoring.
a nightmare. So this is Thor being Thor after the death of Jane Foster Thor. And it's going to be taking the comic in a new direction. And it's got the Black Bull artist, Christian Ward, on it, as well as Jason Aaron for the writer. Thor Odinson has regained his mantle, and with it, a wild new world of trouble on his mighty hands. The artifacts of Asgard had been scattered across the earth, and to reclaim them, Thor will have to face some ugly truths, like the production costs of hundreds of new hammers. And the Thunder God is going to need every last one of them if he's going to stop the unstoppable Juggernaut. So that's dope.
Yeah.
Thor against Juggernaut. Juggernaut's gonna stomp him, hopefully.
Thor's really hot right now.
We also have another new number 1 out of Marvel, Deadpool Assassin 1. It's a 1 of 6.
And who's writing it?
Cullen Bunn!
Uh-oh!
Yeah! The Regenerating Degenerate and his old pal Weasel are back, and they're imposing their special brand of justice on any other killers for hire who don't live up to their moral code. Starting with a dangerous operation that'll take Deadpool into the heart of a castle filled with ninja, who will stab Deadpool multiple times in this issue.
Ninja Castle.
And that says nothing of the emotional damage the Merc with the Mouth is constantly grappling with. Leave the kiddos at home, true believers, cause killer Cullen Bunn never misses his Mark Bragley are bringing you mercenary action as you like it. Bombastic, badass, and of course bloody. Parental advisory. There's a lot of parental advisories coming out of Marvel this week.
Yeah.
Moving on from Marvel, Plastic Man number 1 out of DC Comics. It's a 1 of 6 run. Hopefully this will, maybe shine Plastic Man in some positive light.
Yeah, maybe,
Plastic Man maybe rewrite
Plastic
some
Man
of the
needs
tragedy that has happened
Plastic
to
Man
his
needs
character.
a reboot.
Meet Eel O'Brien, a petty thug thief and con artist who runs a strip club. Hey, he's also dead, at least according to the gang that tossed him out like last week's garbage, literally. Don't worry though, he bounced back from all that, and now he's trying to make a new life for himself. But the effort is stretching him pretty thin. How can he get revenge on his old boss, keep a street kid out of trouble, make a dancer fall in love with him, and stop a mysterious society from taking over the world? Eel has no idea. Okay, so it doesn't sound like it's too different from normal Plastic Man comics. So that's exciting. New Plastic Man run.
Speaking of new.
So this is a big deal. Hawkman #1 out of DC Comics, spinning out of the events of Dark Knight's Metal, Carter Hall returns to the DC Universe. An explorer of the ancient and unknown, Hawkman finds himself embroiled in a long-standing mission to discover the true purpose of his many reincarnations. Carter races around the globe trying to piece together an ancient prophecy, but will he be able to face down his past lives lurking around every corner? So this is a huge deal. Basically one of the huge reasons Metal happened was to bring Hawkman back into the DC Universe fold. So that's a really exciting one.
Hawkman was a pivotal center
of Metal. Then we have another Batman Prelude to the Wedding. This one, Batgirl vs. the Riddler. On the eve of Batman's wedding to Catwoman, two of Gotham City's finest minds clash. In her role as Oracle, Barbara Gordon wired all of her allies together, but when the Riddler takes on Batgirl, will he tear everything asunder? So, I'm a little confused by that, because I thought in New 52 they got rid of her role as Oracle. But okay. Titans Special #1, so this is another DC Metal No Justice tie-in. And I'm a huge Titans fan also, so this is a big deal for me. It's the dawn of a new age of Titans. The events of Metal and No Justice have left the team in tatters, but a strange new threat has emerged to lead Nightwing to reassemble the Titans with a mix of old blood and new. A rash of metahuman power fluctuations are threatening people around the globe, and only the friends who grew up as superheroes can help those whose powers have grown out of control. It all starts here in this special issue, kicking off a bold new direction. Huzzah! And it looks like it's a Titan special, and the cover is Nightwing, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. So I guess Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are part of the Teen
Nightwing
Titans.
is holding the world in his hands.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Night hands. Okay, it's my turn, and today we are going to start out with Image Comics with the release of Oblivion Song #4. Oblivion Song is doing well. I actually ran into one of the creators at MegaCon and got Oblivion Song #2 signed, I believe. Anyway,
Very cool.
yeah. There's not much on this one this week. It's kind of in the middle of an arc, so it's kind of self-explanatory.
That being said, if you haven't come into the shop and seen the limited edition Oblivion Song statue that Matt has on display for display purposes only, you should definitely come check it out.
It's off camera,
it's
but
a
I'd point
pretty
to it.
beautiful statue back here.
And moving on from there, we have actually another one that almost made the 9.9 no-brainer. It's a big deal coming out of Mark Miller. Forgot. Everyone
Same
says
difference.
yeah. Everyone says either one.
Tomato.
So this is a comic that is going to be on. It's going to have its own Netflix series as well as hopefully Reborn. Cross our fingers. Anyway, a little on this one. We live in a world where no one has ever seen a monster, and the magic order is the reason we sleep safely in our beds. Magic meets the mob in the Magic Order, as 5 families of magicians sworn to protect our world for generations must battle an enemy who's picking them off one by one. By day they live among us as our neighbors, friends, and co-workers, but by night they are the sorcerers, magicians, and wizards that protect us from forces of darkness, unless the darkness gets them first. Mark Miller's first Netflix comic book, drawn by the incredible Oliver Coipel from The Amazing Spider-Man and Thor, bringing back Thor. Flashback! Yeah, sorry, go on.
So I'm excited for this. It's it looks to be pretty good. Plus Netflix series, Diamond Gem of the Month. Looks to be a good book.
Yeah, right.
And I don't really like magic-y comic books.
It depends on if they're serious or not. Like, I was a big fan of curse words. It just didn't drag me in too well because it wasn't serious enough for me to subscribe to it.
That's why I liked curse words, because it was like the jokiness of it. Like,
no, don't get me wrong, I love curse words, but not my favorite type of magic comic book.
Too many magic comic books try and be like Dr. Fate and Hellblazer. It's just like.
And then another #1 coming out of Image Comics called Stellar #1. Stellar was taken as a child and transformed into the ultimate weapon, one that would end an intergalactic war. She succeeded at everything except finding peace. Reduced to a bounty hunter, she scours the world she's broken, searching for redemption. But there are other weapons loose in the galaxy, who just can't leave the war behind them. Joseph Keatinge from Glory and Shudder, and legendary artist Brett Belvins from New Mutants and Sleepwalker will transport you to another dimension, filled with crashed spaceships, fast-talking aliens, and ageless wonders. So that sounds pretty interesting. It's got some hype going to it, and it was. I mean, it's an Image #1. Come on, guys, give it a shot. Who knows? It could be the next big thing.
This one. I'm excited for this next one.
Yes, this next one, out of Titan Comics.
Look at this cover.
Called Konugar, War of Crowns, #1. It's written by Sylvan Ronberg and art by Juzen. And cover art by Alex Ronald. Gorgeously rendered epic fantasy with dueling brothers at its heart. Konugar is the ultimate fusion of Game of Thrones and Warcraft. That's right, I said two awesome things in the same sentence. Game of Thrones and Warcraft. I mean,
it's like Warcraft being fused with Warcraft.
Look at the cover. It's a warrior fighting a centaur.
You mean a centaur spearing a warrior?
About to. It's about to happen.
Centaur. I mean, the warrior might be able to like stab the centaur in the abdomen, but that dude's dead.
Yeah, no, he's gone. Rest in peace, warrior. Moving on to Scout Comics with their release of Zinnober. It's actually a really interesting one, especially the reason why it's called Zinnober. 20 years ago, dragons returned to Earth and laid waste to human civilization. In the event, the surviving humans named Zinnober. There we go. Claire, then a younger girl, lost her parents to the devastating force of these primeval creatures. Today, she's hell-bent on avenging the death of her family. But will the skills she was taught by her foster father, the troubled ex-Marine James, be enough to fight an unstoppable enemy older than the Earth itself? Will the knowledge of her newest ally, the young scientist Andrew, bring her even closer to her goal? And what role will the mysterious followers, a cult of mad dragon worshippers, play in all of this? So,
honestly, I want the cult to win.
I was kind of talking to Chris about this earlier. It kind of sounds like that movie from the early 2000s, Reign of Fire, but a little bit more dynamics to that. I mean, the dude had a family that was hurting it, but whatever. it's similar, but dragon comics are kind of few and far between these days, which is a weird thing to say because dragons are everywhere.
And stock status from Diamond Distributing is low. So that's a good indicator. I mean, it is a relatively very indie print publisher, being Scout Comics, so they generally do have lower runs, but that just means if it is something that people are looking for, there's a lot less of them to come by.
Correct. And therefore, the more yours will be worth in the future. Because we're looking out for you guys. Now, moving on to Aftershock Comics, we have one we've talked about already, Walk Through Hell #2. This is the one that's written by the dude who did The Preacher and Cross. Two awesome stories. They're legends in the comic community. And it's #2 coming out, so you don't want to miss it. Big cliffhangers on first issues always, so you got to pick up the second one to figure out if it's actually worth investing all of your time in.
Like Venom,
which is going to be awesome. Speaking of Venom, because it almost got it, is the 9.9 no-brainer! Me? I think, yes.
Yeah.
Me. Today, our no-brainer is out of Image Comics. It is something called Weatherman #1. Kind of came out of nowhere. This is backorder out of stock, which means you cannot buy. It's already, first prints are gone.
Like whoever ordered it, like the stores that ordered it, it's
right.
gone. They can't order more yet until second print comes.
So if we sell out here, and all the local comic book stores sell out, you're not going to find any more unless you go on eBay. So a little more on this one. Nathan Bright had it all: an awesome girlfriend, a kick-ass dog, and a job as #1 weatherman on terraformed Mars. That's right, Mars. But when he's accused of carrying out the worst terrorist attack in human history, an event that wiped out nearly the entire population of Earth, Nathan becomes the most wanted man alive and a target of a manhunt that spans the galaxy. But is Nathan truly responsible for such a horrific crime, and why can't he remember? Writer Jody Leip from Shirtless Bear Fighter, all of you who are with me on that comment because it was awesome, and artist Nathan Fox from DMZ, Haunt, and Dark Reign Zodiac, and colorist Dave Stewart from Hellboy and Rumble, 2 awesome comics, present a full-throttle, widescreen science fiction epic about the damage we do in the name of justice and what it truly means to be redeemed. You don't want to miss The Weatherman. It is a gem of the month also, besides being Backwater Saga. It's kind of the two things that helped us choose it as a no-brainer. And as someone who loves Shirtless Bear Fighter, I'm definitely going to be reading this because I love that guy. I love the writing style. So,
granted, I think this is a lot more of a serious comic than the slapsticky humor that Shirtless Bear Fighter was. So don't expect, like, if you're picking it up saying, "Oh, Jody Lee Shirtless Bear Fighter slapstick," I don't think that's what that's going to be. So don't get any misconceptions about it.
But just the way Shirtless Bear Fighter, how campy it was, it shows.
It was on purpose. It was great writing, creative writing to do that.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying. The writing was phenomenal. But yes, our choice for this week is The Weatherman #1, so you guys are going to come and pick it up and don't miss out on the first prints.
We did pick this because it's a no-brainer to us because we have access to the distributor, so we can see that it's back order out of stock. A lot of these other titles are huge deals and are complete no-brainers. Might not necessarily be back order or out of stock, might only be low, things like that. But when you see something that's basically out of stock, you can't buy anymore, it's almost guaranteed to go into second print, and it hasn't even come out yet, kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to strive to do, continue doing with the show, is give you some inside information.
And I feel like also why we didn't choose Venom is that our point from buying Venom #1 from the last no-brainer, it carries over.
It's only been like 3 weeks.
It carries over. But the 9.9 no-brainer from when we said Venom #1 was also #2, so go ahead and get that. past brainer. How you like that?
I like it.
Anyway.
Have a good night.
Yeah. Every time. Have a good one, guys. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Always remember to like and subscribe, and we just wanted to take some time to, well, first give our appreciation to you guys for sticking around and being loyal, and especially when we see you at cons, and it's good to see you face to face and nerd out with you, because I mean it's such a it's a one direction
like the band.
What? No, we're not like the band. But it's,
I couldn't help myself, I'm sorry.
It's a one-sided conversation, this show is. This is why we like when you guys comment, because it helps us interact with you a little bit more personally.
It makes it more personal, it makes it, gives us more enthusiasm to keep doing what we're doing, to see that you guys are watching, and it shows that you're watching. I mean, there's other indicators of that, but nothing quite gives you the same feeling as when you come up to and somebody you've never met before goes, "Hey, I've seen your show, you've helped me buy these pieces," and that's a real good feeling.
Right.
And it was great seeing you guys at MegaCon. I know we probably didn't get a chance to mention it last week because we were just still withdrawing from having to not be at MegaCon anymore and going back to the real world, which was miserable.
I wanted to be every day and live and never go back to work and never do any more responsibilities.
Speaking of conventions, though,
right, we have Cosography coming up soon.
Cosplay convention.
Yeah, it is going to be on June 30th. If you want any more information on it, they do have their own Facebook page called Cosography. There's the main page, and there's also their event page where you can buy tickets for the event online. A little on Cosography, if I haven't already been, it's literally just it's a convention purely for cosplay in every fashion. There's booths there for a bunch of different professional cosplayers. Last year we actually had some legitimate like big players come into town and do some and help people out with materials, methods of building armor and such. In fact, that one
foam working, all
foam
sorts
working.
of stuff. It's a great place to start for introductory
Panels.
cosplay as well as any level, honestly. Because you always you might be great at working with fabrics, but not know much about working with foam,
Right.
or you might have no idea how to do any of it, and it's a great place to find out how to start.
3D printing.
Yeah, there's
3D printing is a
I
thing.
believe Florida Con Artist is going to be there, and a good friend of ours, Charles Watson, he does a lot of 3D printing, and there's a bunch of people there that do 3D printing. So if you had questions about that, they're great resources to talk to in that
Right.
sense. If you need to commission pieces, like, hey, I need this kind of thing, but it needs to be 3D printed, there's going to be resources for that there.
Correct.
All sorts of stuff. Great networking place to get things ready for making your cosplays the best they can be.
Yes. I agree with everything you've just said. And with that, have a good one. Like and subscribe.
Have a good night.